Hello and welcome to the Introduction to the Promethean Learner Response Systems. With our ITS grant money, we were able to buy learner response systems that go along with our Promethean boards. These learner response systems will be available for professors to check out from the LRC, and you will be able to use them in your class. This presentation is going to be a very short, basic introduction to the learner response systems and to what they look like and how they can be used. We will go in more depth into other videos. So first of all, let's look at the actual active expression that we're going to be using. We bought the Active Expression 2, and this is what they look like on the right hand side of your screen. The Active Expression 2 works with all the active boards, which are all the Promethean boards that we have in the College of Ed. You can use them up to 328 feet away from the board, or away from the active hub. They connect with the board with the active hub, which is a wireless USB that you will plug into the computer you are using. In our set, we have 32 Active Expression 2s to be used. Now let's look a little more closely at the actual device that your students are going to be using. Here you see a diagram of the Active Expression 2, and you see the different keys that are used on the actual device. If you notice, the most important ones are going to be your on and off key, which is in the corner here. These two keys right here, which are called hotkeys, or which your students are going to use to actually select and send their answers in. This round circle right here is basically your up and down arrows and your left and right arrows. That's going to allow the students to move from answer to answer. They also have numbers. We have a function key and a symbol key right here that allows you to use with math equations. You have your backspace, your menu key, and this is your new line key. And so this is just a basic diagram of the keys, and of course you have your QWERTY keyboard here in the center that your students can use to actually type in short answer responses. Earlier I mentioned the Active Hub, and this is what the Active Hub looks like. In order to use the learner response systems with the boards, you will actually have to plug in the Active Hub to any USB port on the computer that is hooked up to the Promethean board. The Active Hub actually stores all the information about the active expressions. Every single active expression that we have has already been registered and named within the Active Hub. So when you want to use them, all you have to do is plug in the Active Hub. You will see all the devices come up when they're powered on, and your students are ready to use them. Now, using the active expressions within Active Inspire gets a little bit more tricky, and I'm just going to do a simple basic introduction to it. In your browsers, you have an active voting browser, and it's the browser that has the active expression and the active vote icon on it. And when you click that, if your devices are powered on, you should see 1 to 32. It will show you every device that is registered and powered on. If you give your students specific numbers and their number isn't showing up, it's probably because it's not powered on or there's some other issue. So here you will see how many active expressions are actually being used at that moment. Secondly, with using the active expressions in Active Inspire, what they're used mostly for is to assess your students. So how do you add questions to assess them by? Well, it's actually very simple. In order to insert a question, you simply go to Insert, Questions in the Active Inspire menu, and you will get the question manager, which looks just like this. You will be able to add a new question, change the question type, put the correct answers. You have all kind of different options. And you also have question generators, which will give you question examples. So it's pretty user friendly, and in fact, and every time you type in a new question, it will show up to the right of your screen here. You can add as many questions as you want. This type of this way of adding questions is really used when you do more of a formal assessment, when you maybe want to start your lesson with what the students know already, or in your closure when you need to know what your students retained. And lastly, we have what's called Express Poll, and this is when you want your students to just answer a question really quickly. You don't want to have to put the answer up on the board. You just want to be able to maybe spit out the answer, and you want them to, spit out a question, and you want them to give you an answer. So to activate the Express Poll, in the toolbar, you see this question mark, this blue question mark here. And you click that, and this is what shows up. And this, you can do any of these types of questions. These, the check and the X will be true and false. These will be multiple choice answers. ABC, which is a text question. And then you can choose how many multiple choices they have, or if you want them to sort in order from A to C, A to D, whatever. So that's the Express Poll. And that's just a really quick assessment when you don't want to sit there and type an actual formal assessment out. So that's the introduction to the active expressions. We will get more detailed as we go along with our videos, and I hope to see you next time.